Hello, all my magical people. Welcome to Unscripted with Amy Kruzic. So, today I am bringing on a special guest. We are going to talk about the Unity Bubble, which I have not heard of. So, we will be discussing that today. And hopefully, Southern Belle won't come out because I kind of feel her around me right now. So, let's get started. Let's bring in Renata Duma. Yay, Renata. Yes. Oh, hello there.
Hi, Amy.
Oh, welcome to my show, and thank you for being a guest. I appreciate that. Um,
Thank you.
okay, so let's start with a background. Give us a little background because guess what? I heard you speaking a language when we were in the green room. Yeah, that was really cool. So
Yeah.
tell us.
Thanks.
Tell us.
Well, I was born to Ukrainian and Polish parents, but I was brought up speaking Ukrainian.
Oh, yeah.
And even though I was born in Canada, but I did not even speak English until I went to kindergarten because I was raised by my grandma. So,
Wow.
yeah, so
Wow.
it was kind of like being in Ukraine, but in a Canadian version of Ukraine, in a contained Canadian version. And ended up, of course, because back then it was de rigueur to send your kid
Yes.
to Ukrainian school and, the scouts and all of that stuff. And, I never thought the language would serve me very well, but I have to say it certainly has, because it turned into an opportunity to host 2 international television shows in Ukrainian that were broadcast across Canada and across Ukraine. So it did end up being something
Wow.
very interesting. Yeah, and I also use it in a professional capacity as an interpreter. So it's odd, but it certainly has served me very well.
Oh, that's great because I know we were talking about my last name, Kruzic, which
Yeah.
is my husband's name, and he had his father came from Croatia, but they did not speak the language. They did not teach
Mm.
him the language, and he did have his grandparents there. But so I wonder because he kind of like he knows a little bit of words, but they never just did that, I guess. I don't know how it was in Canada, but it was looked down upon to, in the United States a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think in the United States it was more about assimilating. So a lot of people changed their names so that they were,
Mhm.
like it wasn't like Rakhmilovitchskaya Venska, it was
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? So
Yeah, but
yeah.
that's so cool that I just love that. It's kind of like I wish he says, "I wish I would have known a little bit of more language," but well,
Mhm.
let's move on to from
Yeah.
yeah, so your background is TV, right? It was or it
Well, that was part of what I did for quite
Mhm.
some time. My other schooling is I have a double degree in music, so
Oh,
as a
yeah.
pianist and a vocalist. So that went on for quite some time, and I conducted quite a bit also. And then, I had an accident with my hand, so the piano playing kind of went out the window, and then I had to redefine myself. But concurrently with all of that, there was always a very strong spiritual connection,
Mhm.
connectivity with, all kinds of things would be happening. And so that became a focal point for me. However, it was, you know, it's not something you can sort of do when you're raising a child on your own, right?
Right,
It's an
right.
interest, but the money making stuff was centered, if not around music, then later around television,
Mhm.
and then also later on in marketing and managing IT industry facilities and stuff like that. After I had my accident, but also studying left right brain stuff a lot,
Mhm.
and that kind of put me into becoming really interested in doing my own guided meditations. And because I have the I'm trained to be an on camera person, I also taught with the National Institute of Broadcasting in Toronto, where Jim Carrey went.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah,
Wow,
and
that's cool.
And so there was a facility with the voice, so I was teaching people how to use their
Mhm.
voice for commercials and how to be on camera for as a, let's say, as if they wanted to do news or sports or entertainment
Oh.
broadcasting, what the pace was, et cetera, that kind of stuff. So, and then, so along all, again, concurrently,
Mhm.
lots of spiritual things happening, connections, and I eventually met my mentor, Jonathan C.R. Davies, who had created the Unity Bubble many years before that.
Mhm.
There was an instant connection with us. Somebody gave me his business card and said, "Oh yeah, this man does clearings or something," and I went, "Oh, okay, well, I probably could
Yeah.
use those, right?" And I sent an email, and the next thing you know, I got a phone call, and he said, "Are you going to be where you are in the next 3 hours?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And so he just got in the car and drove for 3 hours to meet me.
Oh, wow.
So it was amazing. So this is the Melchizedek in my life who was
Mhm.
my mentor and the primary figure in my life uh, in terms of what I do now and what I'm authorized to do, and what I love is the Unity Bubble,
Mhm.
which is what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, because, so how long have you from all that, from your, corporate life or whatever you wanna call it to now, how long have you been doing the, once you met oops,
Woo!
once you met there goes
The angels are calling.
I know, right? That's weird. It just uh, this is unscripted. Um, so how long have you been from the time you met Mr. Davies,
Jonathan, yeah.
Jonathan, to now? How long have you
Uh, we're talking 13, 12, 13
Mm,
years, something around there. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
That's around the same time. It's funny how I feel similarities with you, the way
Mm,
I came about my
mm,
journey too. It's like
mhm,
things just fell in my lap. "Oh, okay,
mhm.
well, why not? Let me try that."
Yep,
You know?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So the Unity Bubble. So what is it? I saw on your website, which is a beautiful website that you
Thank
have.
you,
It
thank you.
explains a lot about
Mm.
what you do,
Yeah, I put
and
a lot of effort into that.
yeah, it's very beautiful.
Thank you.
It said something about 8th dimensional Unity Bubble? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's very difficult to describe something that is beyond words.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
there have been so many, I mean, how many iterations of this website, because there is a Unity Bubble proper website that I used to manage. And it was always, well, how do we describe this thing that's beyond words? Right.
Yeah.
So I've come to begin to talk about it as an eighth dimensional energy frequency
Mhm.
that is transmitted to an open and willing person that was co-created by Jonathan, who was Melchizedek on Earth,
Mhm.
with his Melchizedek buddies and unity. So unity started to present themselves when Jonathan was told at a very ripe age that he was Melchizedek and that his mission on earth was to end suffering. And he's like, okay, well, that's a bit of a tall order.
Wow. Yeah.
And so, but of course, throughout all of his life, all kinds of miraculous things would happen. He had an extremely interesting and miracle filled life, and he could never understand
Mhm.
how it was that he was able to do all of these things. And
Mhm.
then it became quite clear that because he was Melchizedek, that it sort of did come with a few perks. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like he could manifest. I mean, there's a story about. I love the pizza story. So he was somewhere in Arizona. He and his partner Hazel were somewhere in Arizona driving, and they were starving, and you know there was nothing, like nothing but cactus and tumbleweeds all
Mhm.
around. And
Yeah.
Jonathan started thinking about a pizza, like just like, gee, I'd really, really like a pizza, right? And they're driving, and right in the middle of the road, like on the midline thing, he sees a box, right? And so he's like, "What?"
No.
And he stops.
No.
Yeah, and they tied a big ribbon around it so that he could see it, so it wouldn't be he wouldn't think it was a piece of garbage, right? So there was like a big ribbon around it, and it was a frozen pizza in the middle of
No.
yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah, and he was like, "Oh, okay, thanks." Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so
Wow.
yeah, he was an extraordinary. There were so many stories. So anyway, so um he began to get messages from Unity. So Unity became, at first it was God the Father, the Divine Feminine, Gaia, Pan, um, Archangel Michael. There were several. There were maybe 10 different aspects of Unity that came together to assist, because Melchizedek, the blue flame Melchizedek, traditionally come to Earth when there is a time of great need or crisis.
Okay.
Not all Melchizedek are famous. They
Mhm.
don't have to be famous, but perhaps the work that they do is destined to become that in time. They don't necessarily have to be here, but they certainly did start things. So I know that my other favorite person, Mahatma Gandhi, was Blue Flame
Mhm.
Melchizedek. So
Okay.
here to influence to make a great contribution to humanity. So when Jonathan first started working, he started working with a couple of channelers, and he would communicate with all the different aspects of Unity, and eventually just said, listen, just call us Unity, because it's too hard to differentiate who's talking when. It doesn't matter.
Right, right.
So Yeshua was a big contributor
Mm.
and infused it with all of the aspects of the Christ consciousness.
Mhm.
So the first Unity bubble, per se, now this took years to develop. This was not something that just happened like that. This is
Mhm.
years and years. So the first bubble was called the sacred bubble, which was basically just a protective energy frequency. Because what Jonathan found, he was also, he had been a healer working with energies for many, many years. Um, and what he found was people would come to him and he would work with them, and they would get better, and they would fall into alignment, and then all of a sudden, poof, it would happen again. He said, what the heck is going on? And
Oh
what
my
he realized was all the interference. There's so much
Mhm.
interference, not only just in the matrix, all the 70 billion bits of information coming at us, but
Mhm.
also malevolent forces
Mhm.
that, as soon as you shine a little bit of light, well, they don't like that, right?
Mhm.
Want to,
Yeah.
plus, all kinds of negative soul contracts and all that sort of stuff. So he realized that the first thing that needed to happen was that he needed to protect his people from the outside unseen negative influences.
Okay. Mhm.
So that was the sacred bubble. And
Mm.
then over years later, it turned into the unity bubble with 7 more infusions. So there's different levels of development and refinement as you hello, as
Yeah.
you receive as you receive these transmissions.
Yeah.
So it becomes more and more refined, and you become more and more aligned with your higher self, and you become your divine authentic self once again, without interference. And it also, then the unity bubble also does not tolerate or support any negativity within, which means any trauma responses, any programs, any habitual patterns,
Mhm.
addictions, any of that stuff. The thing is, though, it gently does it because it is programmed. Each unity bubble is programmed to that particular person's energy frequency. So when I give a unity bubble, it will be
Yeah.
a unity bubble. It'll be David's unity bubble. It will not be anybody else's. And it is particularly developed or transmitted and designed to work with your higher self and your frequency and your needs. So it's like I said, it's an 8th dimensional frequency that is intelligent.
Wow. Okay, so what kind of process do people go through? Is it a long process, like to get the bubble, or is that like, you know,
No, I can transmit a bubble in 5 minutes.
whoa.
Yeah, it's not
Okay.
at all. It's I'm allowed to do it. So it's not so much me. I'm the boots on the ground. So like the Melchizedek, they always have to have boots on the ground
Yeah.
because it has to be somebody who says out of a free will decision, I'm going to do this, right? Or I want to do this. This is my intention. And then they can come in and do what they can do. So I'm the boots on the ground, or any other Unity Living facilitator is boots on the ground, and can say such and such, I intend a Unity bubble for such and such, or I intend such and such a transmission. So we're just conduits that are authorized to hold this energy so that it can be transmitted. So it's not coming from me.
No, right.
I'm just holding the space, and I'm allowed to transmit it because it's like quality assurance, right? I know.
Yeah.
Right? Quality control. Right?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And
So
then
what?
And then each transmission, it depends. The transmissions themselves don't take long, but the thing is the process. So it's going to start clearing stuff out. It's going to start moving things around in your life. If something is supposed to be there, it's going to stay. If it's not supposed to be there, it's gone.
Okay. So
Oh yeah.
people come to you, and they do they have to come back, like you said, and well, I'm not sure. Tell us. So if somebody says, okay, I have this core issue and I need it healed, um, what's that process like?
Okay. Well, of course they can just get the bubble, and that's going to help them, and eventually everything will be fine. But
Yeah.
if they want to do the whole process, and of course we all come in with core issues,
Right.
right? In our work we call them the umbrella issues. So it's either abandonment, betrayal, lack of trust, or lack of self-worth and self-esteem, combination thereof. Those are your basic egoic construct issues that we all come in with, right? And then there are offshoots of that always. So if the person wants to do the entire process, we ask that they fill out a form, and because we need to know what we're working with here, physical issues, because everything is going to get shifted. Doesn't matter. When you fix this and this, everything else gets, once you're in alignment, everything else falls into place, right? So we basically, now used to be Jonathan didn't do a transmission any faster than once a month, but now we can do it every 2 weeks. However, I have never in my experience, and as far as I know, other facilitators, I've never seen anyone go through it, like do it every 2 weeks like clockwork, because it takes time to process. And I won't feel, I have to feel like the next step is available to a person. If they don't process everything that comes with that particular transmission, then I'm not going to do the next one, right? So sometimes it's 2 weeks, sometimes it's 2 months.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a tune-up.
Well, no, but you have each transmission works is based upon the previous one. So it's taking you to the next level, to the next level, to the next level, to the next level, right?
Okay.
If you haven't processed down here, there's no point in doing this because it isn't done yet.
Exactly. I think people do want that though, don't they? They want to like bypass, like, I just want to get there.
No.
Yeah. No. No. Not gonna happen. I can understand why. Yeah, you've got to work it out here. You know what I mean? You came here to work it out. So
That's right. But that's what the role of the facilitator is. So once somebody does receive a transmission, then I'm there, 24/7, right?
Oh,
And
okay.
we do a follow up. I do a follow up every week. I'm available for, especially I find in my experience, the first three protocols or the first three transmissions are the ones that really shake things up for people. That's when, relationships change,
Yeah.
jobs change, physical locations change,
Wow.
everything sort of gets rearranged. There's a lot of catharsis, um, you know, a, a lot of uh, a lot of repressed memories coming up.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, yeah, and then there's a lot of we do a lot of awareness around if there's physical illness. So I
Mhm.
also work with an individual on that level, and we kind of look at the psychological, emotional issue, why they've created this physical issue, because it's always an emotional, energetic, past imprint
Uh-huh.
kind of thing, right? To
Mhm.
a large extent, not completely, but to a large extent. So I'm there. So like I'm your go-to girl for as
Mhm.
long as you do the process. I'm there with you.
Yeah. Wow, that's so beautiful, and like you said, I think what did you say? Kind of like a minimum of 3. Not 3 would get you to where you need to be. 3
Well,
session 3
I would three transmissions. So I would say
yeah.
you really want to do the whole thing. Uh,
Oh, okay. Wait, how
yeah, but
many
if you're gonna just do the basic minimum, I would say the bubble, which is just the protective, the
okay,
unity bubble, and then the flow, which starts to work on resistances, which
okay.
is very much what we have as human beings, having, having been raised in this environment, right? So
Mhm,
we're resistant to a lot of things. So, like your bare minimum would be uh, the bubble and then the flow. And of
okay.
course, I like children see it. Like I just did a
Mm.
couple of beautiful wee ones in Ireland not too long ago, and just mesmerized. It's amazing,
Oh.
amazing. Yeah, and the parents were mesmerized too. I love them all very much. I love
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and so a whole family. I mean, imagine doing a whole family, and they're just in bliss, absolute bliss, right? Absolute bliss.
That's beautiful because children are so open, you know?
Oh, yeah, and that's just like it's just
Mhm.
putting them back into because they came from a sixth or seventh dimension, right? So it's just giving them. So that's the other thing the bubble does. It immediately puts you back into the dimensionality that you came from, right?
Oh,
So if you're fifth, sixth, seventh D, right, getting squished into this human
yes,
body, right?
yes.
It gives you the feeling that immediate expansion. Like when I got mine, I was telling David before. From Jonathan, I could feel it coming onto my body, right?
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, I could feel it. A lot of people do, or tingling on the head and on the back,
Mhm.
right? And then when I open my eyes, I have a different spatial relationship to the ground now. I feel like I'm
Oh,
a foot higher off the ground than from when I got up
wow.
from before. Yeah,
Ah.
yeah, it's pretty
Oh,
amazing.
I think we could go on for a very long
Oh yeah,
time, but you know what? Check out, Renata's, website because it is beautiful. It feels like we were in the 8th dimension. Look behind us, you know? It
yeah,
feels like the 8th dimension. Yes, I feel like I was just in the 8th dimension. Wow.
I think your shirt is from the eighth
The
dimension.
8th dimension. I think I grabbed it out of that closet. Uh, so I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Renata, and we'll have you back on for like updates, what you're
Oh, I'd love
doing.
to, Amy. Thank you.
Yes, yes. And yeah,
Yeah.
stay magical, everybody.
Oh yes, and
Yes.
we need to hear goodbye from the Southern Belle.
Oh, we gotta say goodbye to that girl. Man, I couldn't get her out of my head when I was like, what am I gonna do? Oh my goodness. Oh, thank you for letting her come out because she's like, "Brr."
I could see her. I could see her. She was like, "Let me out of here!
Yeah,
Let
let me That's right. Well, stay magical, everyone.
me
Bye.
out!"
Thank you. Tell me how you want to be loved.
My name is Juliet Karaman van Schardenberg, and I'll be guiding you through this meditation. Today I'll be leading you through a...
Breathe and relax. Come into oneness. Come into unity, whatever that means to you in this moment. Allow
Divine Love. My name is Juliet Karaman. Today I'm going to give you a direct experience of divine love, the complete, the total. Feeling very, very fine, sinking deeper and deeper down. So peaceful and so relaxed, letting go. And it